Hello, this is Noreen from Joy Cards and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please like and subscribe, hit that little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. So now let's go make a card. Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with my new May 2022 to April 2023 Stampin' Up! Catalog, and that is I'm going to bind it. So I couldn't do this video until after May 3rd because I can't show you the inside until afterwards. But this is the new catalog. If you don't have a demonstrator and you'd like a catalog, go ahead and put in the comments that you'd like to have a catalog mailed to you. Here's some of the new in colors for this catalog, and that is Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party, Tahitian Tide, Starry Sky, and Orchard Oasis. And of course, there's paper that matches. And then all the DS paper is on page 131. And there's some really pretty papers in here as well. I think I've done some previous videos showing that. But here is the new catalog. So I did go ahead and bind it. But before I bound it, I also made a different one. And here it is. I thought of this great idea that I was going to laminate it and bind it, and I did. This was quite the project, and it's great, and I'm going to show you how to do it, but it is very heavy and it's very thick. I mean, you definitely can't lose it in your scrap room. So but I'll show you how I did it. I don't know if you want to do that or not. It is really, really big. But if you just want to bind it, we're going to do that as well. And this is really easy. Now, the thing about binding things like this is you don't want to flip them over. And what I mean is, like, I take this and fold it on itself because it could unbind. So as long as you don't do that, these are great. They'll last a long time, and you're going to have a catalog for a year. So you might as well get it nice like this. It also keeps you from grabbing, like I always have being a demonstrator, and I'm sure most of the people watching this are demonstrators. It'll prevent me from grabbing another catalog when I can't find this one, when it's lost in on the scrapbook table or something. But so it'll keep me from grabbing new catalogs and mucking with those. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cutting pad on my Caterpillar mat. So this is like a light board, it's a glass, and it has a cutting mat. And since I am an Amazon affiliate, if you look in the description of my video, so you see the title and everything, you click on the show more, it'll pop down everything in all my videos. Usually I have all the supplies, all the dimensions for everything I'm using, and this is the same. So I'm gonna all the links for these pads are in my video description. So if you like my stuff, go ahead and click on there. And it does help small businesses like myself. Since I'm an affiliate, I've been verified by Amazon. They give me a tiny kickback, and that's how it keeps me from making these. Keeps me making these videos. So anyway, I've got my cutting mat on, and I'm gonna grab a nice sharp X-Acto knife. So I'm gonna take my catalog, and I'm going to grab basically the middle here, and I'm going to take my cutting knife and I'm going to go right in the binding here, right in the middle, and cut this a couple of times. So I'm going to go once, and then I'm going to go twice, I'm going to go again, and I'm going to really keep it going until it really starts to open up, and probably one more time. And boom. And I'm going to take this half and put it to the side. I'm going to take this, I'm going to do bend it in half here and do the same thing. Just keep cutting. And what we're doing is, of course, taking apart the catalog. And I'm going to take this part, put it to the side. Now, on the front cover, you're going to notice, if you look real closely, there's a spot where it always kind of naturally bends. So this little like 1/4 of an inch is actually glued onto the paper. So just FYI on that. So we're going to go in the middle here and do the same thing. And we're going to cut. Okay. All right. Now I'm down to this. And now I'm going to grab my Stampin' Up cutter. And there's a big part, like I just showed you on the front here, that we want to take off. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. So find that line and go ahead and put it in your cutter and cut that piece off, and it gives a nice clean edge to your side here. Now grab the next pile that you cut apart and just take off a little smidge. So this is page 15 to 36, and this is pretty thin paper, so I'm going to see how well it's going to cut all of those. And it did really well, and this is a pretty thick, heavy piece of glued catalog. So, and I am, as I'm going, keeping these in order, so don't mix them up because it'll drive you crazy. Now I'm going to take this other piece, this is the second half of the first piece, and do the same. And basically you're just going to go through and cut this up. And I'm going to bring back the cutter, and I'm literally taking off like 1/8 of an inch. So try to cut in the same amount every time, as little as possible. And take that off and put this to the side. Flip this over. This is a little thick, so I'm going to cut this. So if it's too thick, you don't want to take the risk. Go ahead and do this. All right, I'm going to pull this apart. Nope. I'm going to do it some more. Put that to the side. Take my cutter, like the little tiniest bit, and make sure it's pushed all the way up here so you're not accidentally cutting it crooked, and taking that off. Put that all in order. I'm going to bring that back. Take this, and that's a little too much. Try to get it in the same spot and cut it off. So I've officially cut half of the catalog apart. Now I'm going to take that second half, that's the big chunk. I'm going to take this apart, and this is cutting through the back of the binding, which is even thicker than the front. So I've got that part, I put it to the side, take this in half, and do the same thing. Try not to go off like I just did. Okay, that's thin enough. Bring back the cutter. Take the very smidgen off, like that. Be nice, thick piece. Put that all in order. Take the other part and cut that binding off. All that glue, and put that back in order. Now bring this piece again. This is the very, very back. I'm going to split it in half. Oops. Try to keep it in the middle. And keep going. Just like that. It's thin enough, I think, hopefully, to put it in my Stampin' Up cutter. That same amount to cut off, that little tiny smidge, and see that big heavy glue, and then put this back here in the right order. And then we've got the back part, and this is where it glues against the paper again. It's like that 1/4 of an inch that's on there. So I really do want to take that off from the rest of it, because I don't want to cut that much off of the paper. So I'm going to take the very, very back piece off very, very, very carefully without harpooning yourself. Get that off, and I'm pushing on this pretty darn hard. And I'm going to rip it. Be very careful. There we go. And this is a lot of glue right here. So I'm going to take my cutter, and I'm going to cut that off. Okay, just like so. Put it over there, and then my back cover, you're gonna have to really give your cutter here a nice cleaning after it's done, because this gets really full of paper. So I'm gonna cut off that whole 1/4 inch right there, and we've cut the whole catalog apart. Now I'm gonna take my cutting mat off because I don't need it anymore. And then I'm going to make sure these are in order, because as you're cutting, you can just kind of lose track of which way it's supposed to go. So the positive numbers or the even numbers are on my left, and the odd numbers are on my right. And just go through and make sure you didn't flip them, so or put them out of order. So go ahead and go through and make sure everything is where it should be. Now you might find on your very back page here, there might be a little glue left over from how it was put together. So just take one of these rubber erasers. I'll try to find the Amazon link for this, and you can click on this. So what Amazon links are, so you know, any YouTube video that you click on, like a link, like they use something in the video, that they have been verified by Amazon to be legit, and the people that have posted it get a small kickback for you buying anything. And I want to tell you something else that you might not know. Within 24-hour period, whether you buy anything off of anybody's link, that person is going to get a little credit for within 24 hours, no matter how often on you've been on Amazon links. And that's good for small businesses like me. I'm just a YouTuber. I don't do a lot of card classes, so it helps my small business stay afloat. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the Amazon link. You might even wanna grab a little spatula here and kind of get off that ink. And then go ahead and give them a good shake. And look, I already put one out of order here. So I gotta put this back. It was like this. And then put these back in order and straighten them out. Okay, the next step I need to do is to bind the catalog together. So I'm using my Fellows Pulsar Plus 300 binding machine. It looks like intimidating, but it's not. And there is a link in my description of my video for this machine and for all the stuff that I'm using. If you click on it, that'd be awesome. So the first thing we're gonna do is open it up, and we're gonna make sure also, before we do that, that this arm is up. So the arm is up and the cover is up. And if you look inside, it's going to say oversized cover and letter. I always just keep it on oversized just for the heck of it. And when I was laminating the catalog, that big monster one, I kept it on the oversized. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch the holes in the cover first. So I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to put it all the way to the left. Okay, and make sure the whole thing is down. And we're going to take the handle and we're going to pull it down like that and up. And here is the cover. So that's the first part. And then you're going to take all these pages that you made sure are in order. You're going to make sure that they're all toughened up here. Put them in and punch. So I'm going to punch all these and I will be back. Now that I've cut everything, I'm going to pull out this little side drawer, and you're going to see this on the side. And what it is a measuring part. And there's these little slots here to put in your paper to kind of size up which one of these little binding combs you need. So what you do is you take your piece and you put it in the slot, and this one is going to be a 5/8 inch, which I have a Fellows plastic binding comb package here, and this will be in my my description of my video as well. So you take this part, and the solid part needs to go in the back of the combs. Here are the combs. This is what we're going to be placing. So when you do this, you have to make sure that the open part of the comb, which is, I know it's really hard to see, is right here. I turn on my light, but it makes it too bright. So the open part is facing you. The open part of the combs is facing you, and the solid part is in the back. And you just put them in the combs from this part on. It's pretty easy. And what happens is then you take this lever and you open up those combs. If that comb doesn't open up, it's because this handle wasn't down all the way, or you've got this reversed. So open up your comb and it pulls open that comb. And then all you need to do is take your piece and line it up in here. And I'm doing this one-handed, so this is really crazy. But you line it up into the combs like so. So I'm going to load up all my papers in the comb, and you can do more than one sheet at a time. Just make sure you get all the papers in the comb. So I'm going to load this all up and I'll be right back. So I've got my whole catalog in the comb here, and let's go ahead and close up this measuring drawer here. And all the little pieces from cutting the book are right in here at the empty tray. But now I'm going to close this with this handle here, and then I just pull it off. And this is how it looks. So it's really nice. Now, when you're doing something like this, never like fold it on itself like all the way like that, because it could pull out. So I'm going to flip the camera around and I'll see you in a second. So I turn the camera around, sorry about that. So this is how nice this catalog is going to look. And if you're going to have this thing for a year, like, because if you're a demonstrator, you're going to be constantly looking in this book. So this is kind of a really nice way to do your catalog. Now I would go ahead and put on the catalog tabs, but they haven't given us the new ones yet. So stay tuned for that demonstration. But now I want to show you what it looks, or how you can do it with laminating the sheets, which is really neat. Unfortunately, it's really heavy and it's really thick. And by the way, on the back of your comb here, make sure all your combs are tucked in and they're not tucked out so they don't grab anything. So anyway, so I did do this one. I used the 1.2 fine binding combs. I'll put this in the description of the video just in case you want to do it. But it's really, really thick. But it is really nice, I have to admit. But let's go ahead and I'll show you how to do that. So go ahead and take apart your catalog the same way as you would take apart any catalog. And I just took a page here, and I'm going to grab a laminating sheet, and my laminator has been warming up onto the side here. But the laminating sheets that I use is the Scotch ones, and you can get like a 50 sheet one. These are the 3 milliliter, 3 ml, it'll say right there. Those are the thinner ones, but they're not thin, because this catalog that I made is with 3 millimeter, and you don't want it any thicker than that. I use some other ones that I do the Stampin' Up papers with, and if you want to see the video on that, I'll post it in the description of my video too. You just click on a link and I'll bring you to this video. And this is a 5, so we don't need a 5, we just need the 3 mil, and the link to this, it'll be in the description on the video. It's Amazon, it's all legit. I also bought a bigger box. If you're going to do a bunch of these, I bought a 200 pouch one as well, and these are great, but the 3 is good enough. So I've got one of the 3s here, and what you do is you always put in the machine the piece that's, you know, glued together. So I'm going to take a sheet here, and I've got 2 unfortunately right here, they're kind of sticky, and I'm going to put it all the way up. And if you are binding these in a book, you want to make sure you know which way is which way. So this is 176 and this is 175. So when you're opening a book, a catalog, this would be like 2, this would be 3, this would be 4, that'd be 5. So we know that on the positive side, this is actually, in fact, you can even tell here where it says accessories and more. They all have these little tabs on the pages. This is the part that opens up, and this is the part that gets punched. But let's go ahead and laminate this first. So we've got it in its pouch. Its glued side is right here. I use the A box. I'm just checking to see if you can see my machine here, and it's all ready. My A box cutter, and this is great because it has a bigger cutter here on the side. If I unlock it here, it has a big old guillotine cutter, which is really nice to cut things that are really thick that I don't want to put in my Stampin' Up! Cutter. And it also has a corner rounder on it. It's really nice. So I've got it on hot instead of cold. It's all ready because the green light is on. I'm going to put in the glued end first, and it takes it right in. And I did about 50 pages of these at a time, just because I wanted to turn off the machine and let it cool off for a while, because it does take a while. This is not an industrial laminator, but when I was researching my laminators, I wanted something that wasn't too cheap and wasn't too expensive, and I needed it to take this. This is an oversized piece, and it took it. And I'll give you, like I said, the link to the sheets in the description of the video along with this. So this is a great machine. So you can use it on lots of projects, not on something that's, you know, small. So this will just take a minute to go through, but it comes out really clear on the other side. I've never had a problem with it. Like I said, I put that one catalog together just today, and no problems whatsoever. Now, when I did put the sheet in the pouch here, this little tab, like I said, that'll be the outside of the part, and this will be the part that will have the holes in it. So I want to put my sheet a little off to the left when you're on this side here, because I want to give a little room for the holes. So this is going to go all the way through just like that. So I've got my laminated sheet. Now, even on my oversized Fellow Pulsar Plus 300 binding machine, this is too oversized for oversized. It's just over by 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to take it in long ways, and I'm going to cut this down to 11 3/8. So I'm just taking off 1/8 on the end, not the top, on the bottom, just like that. So I've laminated the piece, and now I've opened up my binding machine again. I made sure the handle is up, and here's the trick of it. You want to feed the machine in. So go ahead and take this, and you want to make sure that this little tag here is facing up with the 175 on the right. So we're on an odd number, and the category facing this way. If you don't see the category and you've got an even number, you've got it in there wrong, because we want the holes to be on this side. So odd number and the tag here, and we got to pull it all the way over to the left to line up with here, and then we're going to pull this down and punch the holes and bring it up, and there's the holes. Now we're going to do it the same way as we did the other machine, and that is just put in the binding comb, and we're going to be using, for that big old catalog, it was an 1-inch comb, and it looks like this box here. So it's the 1 1¼ inch. Let it focus there, there we go. And it's these big old combs, just like this. And you're going to feed it in just like you did the other one, the solid part facing the back, and the combs that open like this facing you. If you do it this way, they won't open. So put it all the way over to the left like that, and open up the comb, and you would feed in that laminated sheet just like you did everything else. And like I said, this is what the laminated book looks like, but it's really, really thick. I think you are better off just not laminating it and just leaving it like so. But if you are interested in learning how I did the Stampin' Up! Grid paper lamination, which is what the video is called, you can look up on my YouTube channel, or look that up. And I put it up on January 24th, 2021, excuse me, that's a long time ago, 2021, and you can see how I made these. But anyway, that's how I did that, and I would go ahead and put the tabs on, but guess what? Stampin' Up! Hasn't given us new tabs So I'm assuming they'll come up with that soon. And when they do, I'll show you how I did that as well. But that'll do it for me. Thanks. Bye.